Right, welcome back. We're a couple of days after since the last video. Now, I would use this for my chemtrail videos, where the videos have been uploaded, but I quite like the 4K footage of the sky, so I'm going to stick with this camera for the time being. But like I said, we're a couple of days after. Let's swing the camera around and see what we can see in the sky. Okay, so yesterday, the day after the mass trails and obviously the cirrus, who've been paying attention to my last video uploaded called The Weatherman Said Part 3. Was it 4? Can't remember. I'll put the thing up in the corner there so you can have a little look at. And that was a really good track on all the aircraft and what these trails do, and it really showed that the weather was pretty much a mixed bag. I mean, in terms of the weather, I mean, the temperature was the same. I mean, I'm talking about the trails in the sky. Did it make any difference? And at the moment, if I just do a 360 view, at the moment, it seems to be pretty clear. But if we just have a look in that part of the sky, that very small portion of the sky, I may add, is starting to get a few trails in the sky. You can see it here. They're very faint. Very faint. Not enough to dim the sun. We're still early though. We're still early. And now, I think, personally, if this does not spread out, I would consider that as a contrail, okay? Because chemtrails persist, and if this is going to dissipate within the next, I don't know, half an hour to an hour, it's not going to dim the sun, do you know what I mean? Unless it's something different. But again, I'm going to put some photographs here of trails in the sky for the past 80 years. Got another one over there as well. So yes, it's just the start of the programme, because I don't see any balloons spraying anything at the moment. Who knows? Who knows? Right. I think I need to put some DW40 on my tripod. It's all a bit, as I move the camera, a bit jerky. I tell you what, should we track this plane? Should we have a look? Okay, so this aircraft right there, as you can see, travelling at the moment, hasn't really given up a trail, to be honest with you. But anyway, that plane is this. Okay, it's a air tank. Oh, it's an air tanker. That's interesting. Huh. So yeah, there we go. I think I'm going to save that. Maybe it's for, I mean, you can see it's travelling at 35,000 feet, so it's definitely at the altitude. I mean, it looks quite lower than that, to be honest with you. Have I got the right plane? I think I do, yeah, it's gone in that right direction. But nevertheless, it has not give off a trail, as you can see right here. Okay, so far, we've got all this. Just in that immediate area, just there. So we should see what happens for the remainder of the day. We have this aircraft. Seems to be that a lot of these trails are very faint. They're very faint. They're not really doing anything. Do you know what I mean? Drop a little bit. Let's have a look. Yeah, we even have some more aircraft more or less travelling at that same altitude, which normally would give off a trail, but it's not. So again, it's one of those days where it's like little bits and pieces of like these persistent trails. I'm not calling them chemtrails, like, because like I said, it's there to block out the sun. Or it's there to poison us, and I'm going, it's like so many different multitude layers to this conspiracy, and I'm going, well, you need to pick one, mate, like, honestly. Which one is it? Is it poison us? Is it for weather control, weather manipulation? Is it to make the frogs gay? I mean, what's going on here? Even the seagull. Is that a seagull? No, it's not. Hey, it's a dove. Alright. Hello, Mr. Dove. That is a collared dove. Blended in with some, I was going to say chemtrails then, but do you know what I mean? You know, it's not gonna block out the sun mid-air. But we'll see. You know, when it comes to experiments, you need to keep doing it. Don't just do one experiment. Keep doing it. It's like I've got nothing else better to do in my time. Anyway, right, we'll pop back in about half an hour, and we'll keep a close eye on the skies. Right, half an hour has passed, and as you can see here, this was the remaining of the trails that were in a distance. So it was travelling this way, which would be towards London. So that would be east, going eastwards. And to be honest with you, you need to ask yourself this question. Always ask the hard questions, okay? If that was spraying, why is it so faint? Why is every single trail different? Do you know what I mean? You would have thought that all these planes will have some sort of modification done to it. The spray nozzles, or it's coming out of the jet engine, which I find that absolutely ridiculous. Because you're contaminating the actual engine itself. And how do you control the spraying process in that case? Do you know what I mean? I'm just like asking the hard questions. But these trails are really doing nothing. And like I said, if this disappears within the next, I don't know, an hour or so, it's not a chemtrail, is it, really? It's not going to block out the sun. I mean, I'm squinting at the moment, and it's, you know, the sun's brightening up than anything as we're coming up to 8:30 in the morning. We've still got a full day ahead. I don't know if you can see. No, the chimney's blocking it. Don't worry about that. Okay. But nevertheless, we do have this white haze, which is probably a bit like a stratus, as one would say. But yeah, in terms of these trails... Oh, hello, darling. That is our neighbour's cat. It's going to come in and eat my cat's food. But yeah, in terms of these trails, they're not doing anything. They're not persisting. And every single trail is the same. It's faint. I'm going to go grab a book and explain something. So these trails, as you can see, barely doing anything. And I always put the two and two together. Okay, that was not being sprayed on purpose. So let's go back to my book here. One of my books I have, Clouds and Weather. That came out in... I'm going to show you right here. This is the second edition, so that came out in 1988. But the first edition came out in 1986. Okay, let's have a look at this. This is... I know this is like the mainstream media explanation for it, but just hear me out here, okay? What it's saying here, vapor trails in stable weather, and you're getting like bits and pieces in the sky. And then if you go to here, you see those trails actually spread out, and that is vapor trails in changeable weather. And that's what happened the other day. You saw the trails, they were spreading out, and there was a mixture of cumulus and everything in there. I mean, go read it for yourself. But that is what we saw a couple of days ago, and this is what we're kind of like seeing now, to a lesser extent, to be honest with you. So one way you could say, well, basically we're having stable weather, which is why the trails at the moment are pretty much doing nothing. You know, they're very, very faint. They ain't gonna, like I said, block out the sun. Even like that trail there, you can see very, very faint, and every single trail's like that. So for me, is an indication that there is stable weather. And now the other day, like I said, it was all changing, and then the day after, it was actually raining. But if you look out throughout the duration of the day, when it was heavy spray, so to say, a couple of days ago, my last, I think it was the weatherman said part 3 or 4, the trails were actually spreading out. But you had cirrus and a mixture of moisture in there, which eventually went all cloudy and went clear, and then the day after that it started to rain. So that was an indication for me that there was changeable weather in the atmosphere. I'm not saying it's weather manipulated on purpose, but I'm really just trying to balance the two here. You know, a rational conclusion here. All right. So don't be afraid to pick up books and just research for yourself. It's not like you're debunking. I think it's more mature of a person to actually do research into this and to see whether or not these trails, whether or not we can track them back. And I've talked to death on these. But it's starting to clear up now. It's starting to clear up. Okay, an hour or so has passed, and as you can see, it's a clear sky. To a certain degree, we do have some cumulus in that corner there. As I swing the camera behind, as you can see. But all in all, it's turned out to be a nice morning so far, so good. Alright, report back in an hour. Also, ask yourself this. If I zoom into this plane here, have a little look at it. You see it is a condensation trail because it's dissipating, as you can see. So yes, it is a condensation trail. But have a little look on how this is distributed out of the aircraft itself. If I can actually get a nice steady shot on this. Probably not. For God's sake. It's no different to what we normally see when it's so-called being sprayed. When you look at it, really. The only thing is just not persistent. But look at it now. Isn't it lovely? Clear blue sky. Should we see what the weatherman says? Okay, so the Met Office is saying, as we're coming up to around about, nearly 11 o'clock, clear blue sky, and it's supposed to get a bit cloudier for the rest of the day. So temperature is around about 20 degrees. Not bad for this time, but look at it, yeah. Beautiful. Lovely. It's out of focus, but you get the idea. About an hour and a half has gone past. Coming up nearly to 11:45. Let's look at the Met Office, what it's saying so far. Cloudy. Highs of 18, 19. So yeah, this is what we've got at the moment. We have our typical cumulus. Yeah, these puffy clouds we see them every single day in England. Pretty much anywhere in the world, really. So there we go. That's it so far. Do a 360 turn. Might be able to see me. Hello. There we go. Pop back in an hour. Okay, before you go, once again, let's go through the time-lapse video of the day. So there's one thing I noticed on this specific day is that the trails in the morning were very minute, very faint. They weren't really like these massive persistent trails. We have to take this in consideration that possibly what we saw today was most likely condensation trails, because yes, they can persist and spread out. And who the hell is this ugly guy right here? But let's go through the time lapse of the morning. So let's go ahead. And what we're going to see now is what basically we saw around about 8 o'clock to around about 10 o'clock. Very faint trails, as you can see. And they're actually dissipating. Look, go back. I want to pay attention to this cursor here on the left. These trails, look, they're pretty much dissipating. They're not, look, see? They're not doing what everyone's pointing their camera up into the sky saying, oh, look, that's going to block out the sun. Look, it's not. So I was right that what we are seeing here, ladies and gentlemen, is condensation trails. And it's just proof to you that they can dissipate. And here we have the cumulus coming in. That's doing its thing. Isn't it wonderful? It's nice to see in such fast motion. So the trails, you can see. I see this all the time. People filming and posting pictures of these very faint trails, but in matter of fact, they just dissipate quite quickly, believe it or not. If you actually just pay attention for more than a couple of hours into the sky, and this is what the time-lapse camera is here to do for me. And you can see, look, already, I mean, just look in the background, ignore this cumulus and just look in the background. You can see these trails are very, very faint. And they're actually dissipating very quickly. Let's go forward. Okay, I've just forwarded it just a bit, but it's mostly this, what you're seeing here, and eventually it just gets covered over. Isn't it fascinating, isn't it? When you speed like 15 hours of a continuous time lapse into 15 minutes and you get this sort of striking effect. It's quite stunning, really, isn't it? And then the sunset is coming in, and that's where all the clouds turn all like yellow or in orange, and people say, oh, no, there we go, there's the orangeness. They say that's leaf. What did they say? There's like some sort of chemical in the clouds. Total nonsense, really is. But there we go, guys. Let's just go one more repeat in the morning. and just have a little look one more time, and just look at the trails. They are dissipating. They spread out and then boom, they're gone. See? It's not there to block the sun out. It's not there to dim the sun.
So a final conclusion on this 22nd of May 2025. Did the trails in the sky block out or dim the sun? And the answer to that is no, it didn't. Which is a clear example to me and you that what we have witnessed on the video today is actually a contrail, because it did not persist. It persisted for a very short period of time, but like I said, it wasn't big enough to block out the sun. And this whole concept that a persistent trail is a chemtrail and the trails that dissipate is a contrail is simply a misunderstanding. Because if you go through this book here from 1963, there's an extract where it says contrail, and it clearly states that the trails that can persist and it can last up to several hours. And this is dated back in books right here. So there you go. Take this information for what it's worth. It's up to you what you want to do with it. I shall see you very soon on the Cosmic Twilight or Investigate with Nick.